Hello, Facebook Live. I am in Eden, New York, and I'm in the house that I grew up in. This is my mom's house. This is the bedroom. And my single bed. It's probably the same mattress that I had when I was a child. And I'm here to talk about dealing with aging parents. I just got back from the bank, and as I left the bank in our small hometown, I started to cry. It's so hard. So, those of you who are dealing with your parents or have lost parents recently, my heart goes out to you because it is so very, very hard. So, I wanted to do this post to give you some tips as to some of the mistakes that I made or are making that maybe could prevent it from happening to you as you care for your parents or someone you care about deeply. So that's what I want to talk about. And I hope that you are comfortable sharing with me some lessons that you may have learned so that we can all get smarter about how to make sure we go through this when we ourselves are overwhelmed. So I think the very first thing is I wanted to close out my mom's safe deposit box. And the bank required that she have current legal ID. My mom stopped driving several years ago, so her driver's license expired and her passport had already expired. So, key lesson here for us, and we were so fortunate because of the pandemic that there was an extension in New York to allow for accepting expired driver's license during the pandemic so that the bank was able to accept my mom so that we could close out her safe deposit box. The other thing around that is close out the safe deposit box before they're no longer with us. There's no reason for them to have it. If there's any legal documents in there, they should not be in the safe deposit box because you need those to settle the estate. The second thing I learned is, and my sister, is we created a master information document. My older sister used to live here in town and recently moved away with her husband to Tennessee. And she knew everybody and everything that was going on and all my mom's doctors. So we created this master list of all the doctors, their addresses, their phone numbers, what they did, their specialty, all the contacts, the family members that lived close by and the extended family, and prescriptions. We had a copy of my mom's prescriptions attached to this information packet and have it on the refrigerator. And it says emergency contacts list. We also have, for those who have parents that are active in their fellowship of religious institution, we have the names of those people too in this packet of master information document. The other thing we did is we actually went through and gathered, of course we kind of knew ahead of time, but we wanted to make sure everything was current and the beneficiaries were current on all of my mom's assets, whether it be bank accounts or annuities or whatever your family member or person you care about has, is know what they are, have copies of the statements because you need the phone numbers and the account numbers to be able to take care of issues later. And the other thing is also the debts, particularly the credit cards. Make sure you know how many credit cards they have, what those are, and to have access to be able to close those accounts when needed. Oh, and it's so, I just want to extend myself to all of you who are dealing with this or have dealt with it because the emotion is so overwhelming. It's hard. So I think the last thing that I think is really, really important to share is that my mom gets a lot of phone calls. And I've only been here 2 days and the phone rings and it's people selling her stuff. And so I would make sure that you get that every year. You can do a free annual report, a credit report, to make sure that from the 3 reporting agencies, to make sure and be aware that there's no theft or fraud. Elder seniors are so exposed to theft and fraud that you want to make sure that you do a credit report each year to make sure there's nothing that's unusual. So those are my tips I've only been home 2 days, but it's been, wow, a lot of lessons learned. And so thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me this Facebook Live. And please share with me and others what lessons you may have learned as it relates to dealing or settling an estate, or if there's any questions that you may have that I can answer. Happy to do that. So I appreciate your time, and remember, invest in life well. Thank you so much, and I'm so appreciative.